Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Yuki, and he's in the West Virginia, at tier 6 premium US battleship. And he started off with getting some nice overpens into a fully broadside Kirov. Isn't that lovely? So he's on the map Trident. It's unfortunately a standard battle. Even more unfortunate, there's a carrier, but top tier, which at tier 6 is really a treat, I guess. So, he's also divisioned with Dunkirk, and well, they spawned on the right flank, so they've just decided to move forward there. Now, next fully broadside cruiser, 20 kilometers. What can we have here? This is not looking too bad, and yep, that works.
Off to a great start.
Meanwhile, the carrier is being a nuisance, as carriers tend to be. And, well, it looks like there is a Hawkins coming around here. We have a friendly Omaha that is already pretty heavily chewed on. But, you know, maybe we can get some nice citadels into that Hawkins. Hawkins is relatively broadside. And shells are out. Well, I mean, it's one citadel. Unfortunately, it's still floating. But I think it already used his torpedoes. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if it used all of his torpedoes, but it definitely has used some.
Torpedoes, direct front.
Now, meanwhile, it looks like a lot of the enemies are going to the left flank, and a lot of friendlies are going to the left. Which means that our battleships here on the right side can probably push pretty heavily. Well, the carrier comes in to finish off that Omaha, who tried desperately to hide behind an island, but, you know, can't hide from carriers. Meanwhile, the Hawkins is hopefully going down. Oh, still floating. On 300 health. Oh well. It eventually will sink. Also, as long as it's sailing straight away, it can't really launch torpedoes, which is a good thing. And there we go. It's one less Hawkins. So what's next? There is an Iron Duke still here on this flank. A New Mexico that looks AFK. And no, it's moving. It's just, you know, sitting in spawn. Not doing an awful lot. Now, while there are quite a few ships on the left flank, it seems like they are in a long-range standoff so far. Hey, the carrier is back. And it looks like the carrier is coming for the Dunkirk there. So Yuki can definitely push around this island here, maybe even catch the Iron Duke in a crossfire with his division mate, and get some nice hitters in it. Or maybe he'll just be utterly disappointed and his shells will go anywhere. What's this camping shit again? Well, that's a standard battle. It's like standard battles are designed, I guess. It's unfortunate, but you know, it's what wargaming wants, I guess. Although I have to say that standard battles are a lot better at lower tiers, because the maps tend to be smaller and ships are less accurate at longer ranges. And well, I guess there are more inexperienced players that are just a little bit more adventurous, maybe. So, yeah. Anyway. We have a Kirov. And, yeah, is it gonna escape here? I don't know, it's slowing down, it looks like. It's slowing down exactly at the shallow part of the island. Is shallow the right word? Well, the part that he can lob shells over.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
That was the wrong position to park.
Enemy battleship sighted.
Meanwhile, Yagi is pretty broadside to that Iron Duke, but I don't think the Iron Duke cares so far. And he has a Koenig here towards his left, so he can't turn around. Personally, I would in this situation just have slowed down, let the Koenig pass, and then go left. This is something that irritates me like a lot. If I'm sailing a ship, and there is a ship like this sailing next to me, stopping. Even if I wouldn't like to turn left right now, I would definitely always slow down and let this pass so that I have the option if I need to. Meanwhile, it looks like the enemies are getting more aggressive on the left flank. It looks like the friendly carrier did not get the memo because the friendly carrier is now the front line and everybody else on this flank is hiding behind the carrier. Oh well. Now, West Virginia isn't the fastest ship around, which means if he needs to go back, it will take quite a bit of time. But then again, as mentioned, it's not like the biggest map at lower tiers, so... Oh, that New Mexico is going down. It's what makes, like, the higher you go up in the tier, the more frustrating slow battleships become. I mean, it's not like they're that fun at lower tiers, but at lower tiers at least the maps are small enough that you can still move around in reasonable time. Now, this Iron Duke is behind an island, but, well... Yes, the high part of the island stops the shells, that's unfortunate. And we've lost vision. Yeah, I don't think he'll get the Iron Duke back, but he could try the Pepsi Coke that's floating around there in the back. Not that you'd expect much at 21 kilometers, but I think it's the only target he can shoot right now. But he was patient, he waited for the Iron Duke to resurface and he was actually rewarded. So, well, I mean, let's see if he's getting rewarded, and the answer is no, not really. RNG safe, not this day. Now, meanwhile, the left flank has pretty much collapsed. The carrier, looking at his position there in his last moments, he actually realized that he can move and is not actually an airfield, but way too late. And the Congo and the Nuremberg are so good at running away that they can't even see the ships pursuing them anymore. So Jörg seems to be confused by what his König is doing. It looks, honestly, that König is just going for the carrier at this point. Although we don't know exactly where the carrier... I mean, we see planes coming from this, is probably behind this island. And of course, if the enemy carrier knows that he is not an airfield, then chasing a carrier in a König is not the most profitable of things. Now, you could try to cap in a situation like this, but let's just be honest here, right? The carrier will just keep resetting you, which means camping is rather futile in a battleship here. And it will keep you spotted, and with the map not being that big, you just... You know, they just keep interrupting you. Jörg is trying to dodge some torpedoes, not an easy task in West Virginia. But he dodged one. He also has some shots into the Löwenhardt. The Löwenhardt, it's, you know, I guess the Löwenhardt thinks it's an airfield as well. So, it's not even trying to move, get behind cover, dodge anything. It's just sitting there taking. Now that König is definitely going to go for that carrier. Meanwhile, yeah, no, he's also realized he can move, but same as the friendly carrier, I think way too late. So, you know, I mean, if the Löwenhardt can reverse fast enough, he can try to go behind this island as cover from the König to break line of sight. But, you know, it would just be late inevitable, I guess. The carrier would have needed to just follow his team pushing in and be somewhere with them right now. Then the Löwenhardt would be quite safe and the friendlies would be a lot more screwed. Now, we have about 3 defenders if Yogi goes back against 4 enemies pushing. And you know that Congo is very healthy, the Löwenhardt can't sink it in time. So that König will sink that carrier with a lot of hit points left, but he will be rather out of position to defend, I suppose. Although, if that König just sits here in the enemy camp, he can still defend the friendly camp from there, I guess. Okay, so we have finally some vision on the incomings. Oh, and we have also lost the cruiser. First up, sort of broadside Pepsi. Let's see how this turns out. And well, there is one hit, one citadel. Meanwhile, the König is still working on the Löwenhard. And it looks like Yaki is now broadside to a Kavu. So he's probably gonna angle in there a bit. It's meanwhile... Let's see how that salvo turns out. Well, reasonable. Let's have a look. Yeah, that Congo is actually pretty healthy. But despite him being so healthy, he's... Like, you know, if you're defending your camp like this, you kind of want to make a stand at some point, especially if you are healthy. Like, there is no... Once he managed to go behind this island, he could have slowed down. He could have sat there, used this as cover from some ships, and then maybe just engaged the Bayern. He could now also turn around or re-enter the camp from here. Like, there is a time when kiting away is a reasonable choice if your flank gets overrun, but you know, where are you going, Congo? Where are you going? Your base is under attack. Oh well. Meanwhile, yes, I mean the König has sunk the carrier, that's at least a moral victory, but he's way out of position to do anything. What he can do, of course, is now he can take the enemy camp. And, I mean, there are no destroyers here, right? So the one that's camping right now is the cruiser, Celebs, or however it's pronounced. Now Yoki will have to turn around here and spot that, because, yeah, the Congo isn't going to do this. The thing is, this turn exposes his broadside potentially to the Cavour and to the Bayern. Yeah, that's exactly why he probably didn't want to make this turn, but, you know, he has to push into this camp. So, it looks like the enemy battleship is charging him there. Actually, I mean, West Virginia's pretty big guns. I'm not sure about Kavu's armor layout, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could go through its nose. Actually, I'd expect to be able to go through its nose, I guess. But if it's showing broadside, you don't need to. There is a high caliber. And it looks like the Celebs was interrupted by the Congo. The Congo has actually finally stopped going for the zone wall, and he really should like turn in here. It's nice that the enemy Bayern is also like, he saw the friendly Congo be useless and he was like, hey, I can do the same thing. Well, those were 3 ricochets. That's a shame. Now, Mikawa is coming in. This could end up in a sail-by, in a nice broadside duel. Or if the enemies... I really should check that. Like, yeah, he can go through the nose. No, you don't have to aim that high. I think you can just go through the... Well, like, he got it.
The ship is on fire. We've destroyed
So,
an enemy battleship.
Oh, 2 enemies are down there. Meanwhile, I think the friendly König is just inside the enemy camp, probably grabbing a beer and being like, you know what? This game is none of my concern anymore. Now here's the fun thing, right? This König, I mean, König doesn't have the best concealment, but, you know, if he's just going AFK in this camp now and camping, then the friendlies will just win, because the enemies have given up on trying to take the friendly camp. And even if they sink our West Virginia and the Congo here, it's, you know, it's gonna be way too late. So, if this König does absolutely nothing now, it's basically a guaranteed win. Oh, triple fire, that sucks, but damage con is almost ready, so you know. And heal is almost ready too. There's the damage con, there will be the heal. The Pensacola is going behind this island though again. Now if he could like finish the Celebs here, that would also be lovely. Now the Bayern is finally coming around and rejoining the fight. The Congo that went briefly towards the action is, I think, deciding to run away some more from the Bayern. Yoki is trying to use this island as cover from the Pensacola, but the Pensacola is reversing back out again. Of course that exposes him, so are the shells fast enough? Yes, they are.
Enemy cruiser found.
And there's our Kraken. Now, meanwhile, the enemy team has a very healthy Bayern. Imagine if that Bayern would have been involved in this fight. If the Bayern would have just gone straight into the camp, Yogi would have been sunk a long time ago. They could have had the Bayern here camping together with the Celebs. The Kong would have probably just run for the hills, and the enemy might have even camped this. But, you know, the enemy decided not to do any of that, and meanwhile the König, enjoying his spear there, is just going to win by camp. So here we are with the results. That was a bit of a weird battle, but definitely a great performance here by our West Virginia. Well done, Yogi, well done. He got himself a boatload of medals. He got a Confederate Fireproof, a Dreadnought, a Kraken, First Blood, and a High Caliber, scoring 181,000 points of damage and sinking 5 enemies. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you next time.